Well, thanks, Sir Stephen, for expanding on the work of the Tindall Foundation. Sir Stephen talked about looking at their website, and obviously I'd had a look at your website, which is why I had the information I had. But it is an extremely interesting website when you start to look through the list of people that have benefited from the Tindall Foundation and the diversity of it. And apart from the fact it's a hand up, not a handout, it's not the Tindall Foundation's desire to get involved in bricks and mortar. You leave that to other institutions to get involved in and deal, I guess, with the people aspect of what New Zealand's social development should be and hopefully will be in years to come. So thank you for agreeing to come down here. As I said in my introduction, we thought you were the ideal person, and I'm sure those in the room and certainly the trustees would agree that that choice was definitely the right one. What I want to do for a minute is just run through some of the local elements of the Sunrise Foundation. So yes, we are a charitable trust. We were established officially in March. And our purpose to receive gifts and legacies in an endowment fashion. They are invested for the long-term benefit of communities. It is the only one of its kind in Gisborne, and it is the most simple and effective way of leaving, or for individuals to leave a lasting legacy. And we talk about forever, and in fact it does. It meets the needs of this community, or any community where there's a foundation, but certainly this community forever. So who are we? Well, as you've heard, we are a board of 9 voluntary trustees. We think we're respected and trusted individuals, and happy to say so. You've heard the 9 talked about before, but we are all here tonight and are wearing, well, I'm not, but the others are wearing a red name tag to identify them for those that don't know them. We do, like all the community foundations, have a very robust and transparent governance model. So our accounts and everything will be available on a public basis, so there's nothing hidden in that. Our executive officer, Glenda, is the face of Sunrise. Glenda Jackson, I hadn't thought about that before. And what is really good from our point of view, and we're extremely grateful for, is that our operational costs have been met for the first 5 years at least. And that's thanks to the support we've received from the Clarke Charitable Trust, to the J.N. Williams Memorial Trust, and to the Eastland Community Trust. What it means is that there isn't a written rule or an understanding amongst community foundations that their administrative cost should be no more than 1% of the capital. So if you put in 100,000, then the administrative cost that comes out to run it should be no more than 1% of that. The trouble is, when you're getting established, if you haven't got any funds and management, then you haven't got anything to run your operation. So we were really fortunate, and I think at the end of the day that was one of the things above all that persuaded our trustees that this was a run-up and we could afford to give it a go. So what do we do as trustees and our executive officer? Well, we are, as Sir Stephen says, in the business of promoting the concept of giving back to the community. It's why we've got a byline of local giving for local needs. We want to encourage giving by way of endowment, which is quite different. So it's, you might give to a charity on an annual basis. What we're suggesting is that, long after you've gone, your name can continue to be a benefit to that particular organisation or charity by giving through Sunrise. And I stress it's through Sunrise. You're not actually giving it to us. We're just going to look after it. The organisation that benefits is on the other side of us. We're also there to provide support to donors and their families. We want to make giving an enjoyable, rewarding and stress-free experience. We will manage your endowment funds, obviously, with professional assistance, fund managers and the like, and in time, and We're fortunate, as you will have read in the paper on Saturday night, that we do have $500,000 we're going to launch with, or have $500,000 in managed funds. So we do have the ability, or will have the ability in 12 months' time, to start in a very small way to make distributions to those organisations in the community where there is a need. As I say, why should you choose? Well, we are locally based, providing for local needs. We've got a very broad and inclusive view of the community, and I think that's demonstrated by our trust deed and the makeup of our trustees. They are appointed by various sectors, His Worship the Mayor, the Law Society, the Chamber of Commerce, the Turananga, accountants, and then the trustees appoint the others themselves. So we look to get a distribution across the community of people who not only have a profile but also the ability to understand what the needs of the community are going to be now and in the future. We want to be flexible, and more particularly we want to be personable. There is a maximum tax advantage obviously for donors, particularly if you're giving during a lifetime, and Colin and June on the trust as accountants are more than happy to tell you all about that. Clearly the funds that we hold in endowment are all pooled, despite the fact that we will individually track donations, but they're all pooled to give a maximum opportunity for return. And we want to ensure that you have a particular vision, as Sir Stephen said, about, I want funds to go to the local church, or I want them to go into education, preschool or whatever, then that's achieved and upheld. So how can you do this? You can do donations in your lifetime, obviously bequests in your will that you've just heard about. There is the concept of workplace giving, which is something relatively new for New Zealand and relatively new for community foundations, I believe. But essentially it's where a business may choose and you might be, well, it happens to a wee bit to a degree now, where it might be supporting blind dogs, guide dogs for the Blind Foundation, or some particular charity where each employee agrees to take out $5 a week or whatever. You get the tax advantage at the time, and it accumulates as the XYZ, possibly fund within Sunrise. Your donations can be targeted to specific causes, or in fact they can be given on the basis of general funds. In other words, no specific direction, and the $500,000 we're starting with comes across with no tags, so it's available for us to distribute, or the proceeds are, on an annual basis where we believe the need is greatest. They can be anonymous, or you can have a named fund. So there's a variety of opportunities in there, and it's really a flexibility to enable us to tailor that to your particular aspirations, desires. We are available as trustees, and Glenda certainly is, to discuss options, but I want to stress to you, giving is entirely your decision. We're not selling encyclopedias. We are selling an idea, a concept to individuals, and we would certainly stress that if you do become interested, that you talk A, to your family, and secondly to your advisors before you commit to anything. And that's something that's practiced in every community foundation, and one of the things that we as trustees had to get our heads around, and I think I might have made the comment in the article in the paper on Saturday night, those of us that are starting with Sunrise will never be around to see the true benefits of it, because it is such a long and ongoing process. So if it's taken Acorn Foundation 10 years to get to that point in time where they can actually make a difference in the community, then it's going to take all of that time and longer. So we understand that this isn't something that you knock on the door today and you get a commitment tomorrow. It's a much longer process than that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Sunrise Foundation. Once again, can I thank Sir Stephen for giving up his time to come and join us tonight, and he's been well looked after. Tomorrow there is a session for professional people, breakfast session tomorrow morning, where you can discuss this in more detail, and I think he's doing the Chamber of Commerce luncheon tomorrow as well, so he's certainly being worked hard while he's down here, and presumably making a couple of visits to make sure that the business is running all right from afar. So thank you for attending. Please don't rush away. Feel free either to stop and talk to our guests or to one of the trustees, or John, you can go and see if there's anything else left on the plate out there. But otherwise, thanks very much for coming along and experiencing the launch of the Sunrise Foundation. What I should say to you is too, these booklets are out here. If you haven't already picked one up, feel free to take one away. The story's in there.